Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Quickly, to get this over with, I evidently don't know how to use an iPhone yet. I was deleting different takes of the videos, attempts to do the videos. I was deleting them, but it wasn't really deleting them. It was putting them in a file to be deleted later, and I didn't know that. And so I evidently racked up like 17 gigs or more of memory in deleted videos, and I couldn't do a weight loss video for you last week. I know that I've struggled several weeks since I've gotten this phone problem, having to switch a new phone and whatnot. But quickly, I'm 295, so I'm finally under that 300-pound benchmark that I've been going towards. I'm so far under that hopefully water weight won't fluctuate more than 5 pounds and I won't ever be over 300 again. So I just want to say that out of the way, just in case for some reason my phone gives me yet another problem. This chapter, though, this is chapter 5, the Lybus family, and before I read it, I just want to give you a quick recap of the story so far. Nate has left Earth. He's now on a new planet of elves and dwarves. He's living with a city of elves, living in a forest. And the way these people learn skills, at least one of the ways they learn skills is through eating these leaves. They're planted, these trees are planted over these dead bodies. And when the trees are old enough, they eat the leaves, and it gives them dreams living through the memories of these dead people. And that's how he has learned their language within a matter of a few months. He finally got allowed to do work, like actual chores, with the rest of the kids, like the rest of the kids do in their community. And he's learned that he's not physically fit like the other elves are. He doesn't know if it's like a human versus elves thing or if it's just his own body. But for whatever reason, he's not able to do as much work as the other kids. But he's trying. He's tried so hard, in fact, that he fainted. And it's impressed some people. Lybus is a Trent elf, one of the tall elves, and he died like 5 years ago. I'm not sure if he actually said that. That might have been a small spoiler. But he was a major hero within this Trent elf city, this wood elf city. And his tree is finally old enough to be harvested. And Nate has impressed the people so much that he worked so diligently to try to get physically fit that they've given him this tree, the rights to eat from this tree for free. So that's where we're at so far. So here we go. I hope that this week is a little better than last week's. I know that I was struggling with, losing the light and whatnot. So, all right, chapter 5, the Lybus family. I've eaten my first portion of Lybus's leaves. Oddly, they're the first leafy plant from this planet that I've found to be something other than bitter. It has a mildly sour taste that surprises me. They're visually unique as well, with reflective red dust layering the underside of the leaves. I've finished the last one, wondering what dreams, if any, I might experience once I fall asleep. This man was some kind of hero among soldiers. So, for that, I am curious. I'd think after a few years of eating this man's plants, I would know his entire life from beginning to end. To think of it like that almost makes me feel I'm starting a new book or television series. I crawl into bed, blow out my candle, and think about getting to meet this so-called hero for the first time. Time to get up, brother. Morning. Wake up. Wake up. However, when I open my eyes the next morning to Castania's squealing voice coming from down the hallway, I feel let down because I don't remember any dream whatsoever. I grab the little pouch of leaves and shake it. I wonder why Drobe didn't show up in my head last night. Feeling unmotivated to do so, I pull out a small sample of the special leaves, eat, and decide to stretch my legs before heading downstairs. Within the hour, we sit at our normal table to have breakfast as a family, and it is cold out this morning. I'm watching the steam rising from my bowl of red fruit and slop while waiting for one of them to ask about the dream I didn't have. I can tell that Akiram is curious, but she's being quiet out of respect for her husband, who likes silence in the morning. Wyston glances with a smile, but I know he won't be the one to ask. Sierra also smiles, although it isn't her I suspect. No, it's my sometimes obnoxious other sister, Cassinia, who will defy Wyston's quiet morning. So, did you have a dream about that Lybus guy last night? I bet it was exciting. The hot air fleeing from her mouth. Sorry. I shiver. No, I didn't. Drobe has never let us down before. I'm sure you'll have dreams about him soon, Mom says, with her worried eyes on Wyston. Wyston is a little annoyed, but he gestures to her the approval she is searching for. Nobody dreams every night simply because they ate some harvested leaves. Drobe will come to you in due time. I already knew this. I'm only anxious to understand why eating those leaves are supposed to help me become stronger and more skillful when warrior training starts. When we finish breakfast, my sisters and I depart to the Reaver Cave. After speeding through my chores, I walk outside the cave and see the sun is out, beaming a warm light on my face. I smile and begin my trek toward my next job. The expressions on some of their faces as I enter the woodcutter's site are that of disbelief. It had only been 4 days since the night I fainted. Have they already forgotten me? I begin to stack the logs into large piles when I realize I'm getting smiles from the adult choppers. Some of them are even patting me on the back. They didn't forget about me. They are simply impressed I came back after that incident that left me ill for those 3 days. By mid-afternoon, I've stacked almost as much wood as each of my peers. I want to stay, however, the chief woodcutter tells me to retire for the day. He must not want me pushing my limits again. With an extra daylight left, I arrive at Michelet's fish hut to borrow a spear. I plan to use his son's fishing skill that I may have gained from the single dream I had about him. I've never put that dream to the test until today. In no time, I am waving goodbye to Mr. Winters with the spear in hand. I am shocked that he didn't try to stop me from attempting to fish. I guess he might be happy to figure out if part of his son may reside in me now. When I make it to the river, the water is so cold on my tiny feet that it takes a while for me to adjust to it. After I get comfortable, I catch sight of my first fish trying to swim upstream against the mild current. I take aim and thrust forward at the green-scaled fish with a double set of yellow fins. Success! I string the fish up with some string in my pocket and resume fishing until I have 5 more fish hanging on my line. I walk back to Michelet's hut to return his spear and anticipate giving him 3 of my 6 fish. When I find him, he's collapsing his wood and leather hut for the night. Glad I caught you in time. Here's your spear back, I say from behind him. Did you catch anything? He turns around and stands ready with a smile. 6? Good job. I want to give half to you and the other half to the Lybus family. That is, if you don't mind telling me what tree is their home. I can't take your fish. You've already repaid any debt you think you owe me. I open my mouth to argue my point, but he interrupts me. However, you can't just drop 6 bloody fish in front of people like the Lybus family. You need something prepared. Here, I'll trade your 6 small raw fish for 2 large smoked ones. Does that sound like a deal? He takes my string of fish from me without waiting for an answer. Deal. Let me finish up here and then I'll introduce you to them. He thrusts 2 wrapped heavy packages made of huge leaves into my arms. And a short time later, we are walking between the many long dinner tables. I catch sight of my family eating a few rows away. Akarum is smiling at me with pride like moms often do. Well, at least I suppose. I never had a mom to compare that to. As I turn away, my attention centers on a family of 4 Trentelves, 2 of which, a man and a woman, are around 50 years old, each with graying black hair. The other 2 members are a mother in her late 20s and a 3-year-old girl. This group is dressed in the finest leather I've seen here and appear to be better off than your average family. They've spotted me, though I cannot gather how they feel about me. Good evening, Lybus family. Mr. Winter bows his head in respect, and I bow a second later. I'd like you to meet this little boy who wants to thank you for your gift. This is Nathan. Nicolette puts a hand on my shoulder and points to the old couple first. Nathan, this is Jero's father, Rogar, and his mother, Kindari. Nice to meet you, I say. Nice to meet you, says Kindari with an aged voice. She's on the plumper side of her skinny race and has one distinct detail about her. It's a tattoo of a teardrop by the corner of her right eye. Inside the teardrop, there is a delightful design of a star. The tattoo is colored in blue and yellow and is more vibrant than any tattoos I've seen on skin as dark as the Trentelves. Rogar bows his head in my direction. He's a thick, brutish man with a puffy beard. Rogar is also one of the few men that I've seen wearing glass spectacles. Nicolette points to the younger ones of the family. The lady here is Jero's sister, Suri, and this is her daughter, Abby. I smile as I recognize the baby girl has an Earth name. Good evening, Suri says. She's quite beautiful with her remarkably smooth skin and full lips. Her silky hair of mixed brown colors, which has grown out to the back of her knees, ends with 2 collections of braided tails that start and end within 3 inches of each other. Good evening, I reply, and then give a small wave to Suri's 3-year-old little girl. Abby has her hair up in pigtails and seems to be scared of me. Can you blame her? She must barely know how to talk, so how would she begin to understand my appearance? Your arms seem tired, frail boy. What is it you have there? Rogar asks in a gruff, scratchy tone. A small gift. He bought them from his hut with his own goods, Nicolette adds. You did, boy? Well, sit down with us and we'll feast, Rogar says with a cheerful grin. Mr. Winters takes the packages from me, lays them on the long table, and we all sit down to eat. I know this token won't make me even with the Lybus family, but watching them smile as they eat the fish is enough to make my heart beat out of my chest with happiness. They start off by asking me basic questions about my life and chores here in the forest. Mr. Winters tells them the story of how I first met him in the market. I sit at the table, trying to soak in the details of this family. I want to know what to expect in my dreams while getting to know the life of their beloved Jero. The problem is that I've become so interested in the visual details that it takes me a little while to realize the mother is asking me a direct question. Child, did you have your first dream of my son yet? She touches her teardrop tattoo with her right pointer finger. No, ma'am. He eluded me last night. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry. Please don't be, Mrs. Lybus. I'd love to know how I can repay all of you. If you feel you must repay us, come back here tomorrow. We'll put you to work in our leather crafting business, Rogar responds. You can't barely see his mouth as he moves. You can't barely see his mouth move as he talks through his beard. I've been training in the woodcutter site, trying to catch up with the other kids here. They'll think I gave up on them. In an instant, I am ashamed of my rude remark. Training? Rogar asks. If training is what you're after, our business will offer you a lot more than stacking wood will. It will? Leather crafts? I say with a shiver. The temperature feels like it's dropping back to where it was this morning. Becoming a warrior isn't about how much muscle you grow or the speed you obtain. A warrior's greatest strength is his skill, his precision. I can speak on your behalf with the woodcutters tomorrow morning. They'll see it as a promotion, I guarantee it. He's right, Mr. Winters adds. This is good for you, child. You want to be a hero like our son was, do you not? Kendari asks. Yes, I do, I say, behind a fake smile. I hate the idea of leaving the woodcutting site when they're only now beginning to like me. After Rogar pulls the last piece of salty meat from the scaled skin and pops it in his mouth with a goofy grin, we say our goodbyes for the night. I reunite with my family and we head home to go to bed. I get into my bed of pelts after eating another portion of the Lybus leaves, hoping some dream will sweep me away. Sadly, when I wake the next morning, I realize that Drobe didn't show up yet again. Why won't he show himself to me? I start my day the same as every other. After parting ways with my sisters, I head back to the dining area to stand at the table where I met the Lybus family. Both Sira and Casnia are heading to the woodcutter site. Sorry, I just lost my track. One second. Site to fill the small void I'll make by not showing up today. I told them they didn't have to, but when they saw how guilty I felt about leaving the site, they insisted. Sometimes I wonder why I never had a family like this back on Earth. I don't blame my father for anything. I just didn't know what I was missing until now. I'm halfway to the city area when I see someone walking up from behind me. Hold on. When I sense someone walking up from behind me. I knew that didn't sound right. I turn my head and sigh when I realize it's my curse of childhood bullies, Palu and Jun. In the last few weeks, I've run into them on several occasions, though it was in town where everyone could witness it. The most I get from them was a hateful glare. Today, I'm not so lucky since I'm alone with nobody to watch over me. Can they still be holding a grudge? No, I think they simply want someone to scare off. I take a deep breath before turning around to face them. Hey, are you ass waffles done talking to me yet? I don't know either of them could know my choice of Earth words. Ass waffles? What is that? Chun asks. I grin. Ass waffles? I loved using grouping words like this back home. What does ass mean? Drobe asks. Yeah, and waffle too, Paulo adds. Oh, it's a friendly greeting from my world. Like if I call you an ass waffle, I'm calling you a person I respect. Just to pause there for a second, I wrote that in with ass waffle when ass waffle was just starting to become a thing. It seems like everyone says ass waffle now. Honestly, that may need some reworking before I actually go and print this out for the masses or whatever. But anyway, you just don't want us to hurt you, Paulo says? Or you just don't want us to hurt you, Paulo says. Of course I don't. Why would I want you to hurt me? Jun puts his face directly in front of mine. Are you scared? Maybe, I pretend, so I won't be late for the Lybus family. Both boys shake their heads and shake their bellies in laughter. It's quite embarrassing to let them walk on me like this. Regardless, I don't feel right hitting kids, even if they are stronger and bigger than me. Even if I'm outnumbered. I hate myself right now as I let them win. Watching them persist is enough to make me sick. Then, like the flick of a light switch, they both stop laughing. John puts a hand on my face and pushes me to the ground. I stare at the dirt and try to hide that I'm furious. Like another flick, they resume laughing and begin walking away from me. Randier looked like he was going to soil himself, Paulo remarks. Completely scared, John adds. I'm adding some John ads or people ads, whatever, because I realize you can't tell who's talking. That's just not in the book that way. I get up off the ground and turn my face. Scared? No, I'm not scared. Not scared of you. I stand there, ready for the two larger kids to attack me. I know I'm going to hurt when it's over, and I know I'm about to be late to meet with the Lybus family. I know all this, but I cannot let Paulo and John believe for a second longer that I am scared of them. I still can't hit them. I know I should be able to. I just know I can't because they're simply immature kids. All I can do is defend my vital parts from injury. Half an hour later, I'm limping into the dining area and hoping the Lybus family hasn't already left. My vision is now impaired in my right eye, and I can already feel it swelling up. I wipe the blood off my lower lip and find Suri Lybus at the table eating some kind of chowder. Today she's wearing a lime green dress and a matching cloth that sheathes her upper half of her long hair. Her head bobs up and she's instantly worried about the bruises I've obtained. Nathan, what happened? I tripped, fell down a hill. That's why you're late? I think I hit my head. I woke up next to a boulder. You should call it a day. You can start your chores tomorrow. No, please, I'm alright. It's only a few scrapes. She focuses on my growing lump of a right eye. Fine, come on then, but I'm washing your face when we get home. After walking a while back outside the city and down a rather steep trail, we arrive in front of a humongous tree home that can only be the Lybus residence. Compared to the other tree homes, this one is a mansion. A small creek circles one side of their tree. We use it to clean me up, and then Suri invites me inside. I soon establish that we're alone and wonder where the other members are. Suri tells me she'll be right back and walks up a wide hallway to the upper floors. I look around at the art and elegance of their interior palace. Everything from the rugs to the furniture is rich with detail and far more beautiful than the simple designs I'm used to seeing in Andaria. Massive paintings are on every wall portraying each of the Lybus members. Many of them are members I haven't met. Then I turn my head and realize that they've dedicated a wall to only one member. This must be Jerome. There are pictures of other members standing next to him in a few of the paintings, but most are only of him. In one picture, he stands next to his father, Rogar, who has his arm hung around Jerome's shoulder. In the background, a mammoth black lizard-like beast rests dead on its side next to a broken tree. Light snow blankets the land and the creature beautifully. By comparison, Jerome is smaller than I imagined him to be. I pictured him as a bodybuilder, and here I learn that he's a less than average Trent elf. I should feel guilty that I'm let down by the unthreatening stature, yet I'm not. From what I can tell of the artwork, he had the finest wares and his hair was long and black. Furthermore, he had a narrow face with smooth features. Jerome Lybus was a pretty boy. Tindari sneaks up behind me and says, "Did you meet my son last night?" While facing away from her, I say, "No, ma'am. I'm beginning to think he doesn't like me." Nonsense. My son liked almost everybody until they crossed him. She pauses. And it's not only that either. You remind me of him. Really? Why? I turn to face her. She's holding Abby asleep in her arms. I feel bad that I almost woke the child up, although that doesn't appear to be her concern. She's horrified at the sight of my bruised face. What? That once upon a time he was as frail as this round air? Is that what is similar to you about... Oh, sorry, I'm going to read that whole thing. I just messed that one up. This is Rogar, by the way. What? That once upon a time he was as frail as this round ear? Is that similar to what you were about to say? Rogar asks as he walks through the entrance. Rogar, Kandara says angrily, while trying not to wake Abby. Oh, I'm sure the boy can take it. He knows he's smaller. Round ear, she says again. The boy has to get tough. He'll have that his whole life. I fake a smile. It's all right, Mr. Lybus. Sorry, he said Mrs. Lybus. It's all right, Mrs. Lybus. I was going to say, you remind me of his determination. Jerob was a small boy too, but he didn't let that stop him from being what he wanted to be. He spent all day trying to better his body and his skills too. I barely know you, and I can already see that in you, she says with a look of satisfaction as she puts Rogar in his place. Yes, well, it was you, Mother, who found Nate on the ground that night, Suri adds as she walks back down the hallway while carrying a 2-inch by 3-inch wooden box. I turn my attention back to Mrs. Lybus. Thank you. No need for that, child. Suri walks up to me and presents the box. You can thank me if you like. I have something for you. Oh, not that thing again, Rogar rants. It was my brother's, and it was special to him. Suri opens the box and reveals a black leather necklace with a stone item, which comes across as half of an arrowhead that was broken down the center. He didn't believe in that thing. He argued with you all the time about that medallion, Rogar argues. Suri yells, if he had worn it, Suri settled down, Kandari says. Suri turns back to me and takes a deep breath. Wear this and never take it off. Maybe one day, if you're lucky, you'll understand. Suri puts the necklace around my neck. The medallion rests an inch above my belly button. I'll meet you out back, Rogar tells me as he walks out the door. You came here to work, not to get all emotional over the dead. After a short talk with the ladies, I walk around the back end of their tree and catch sight of Rogar stabbing into a massive green-scaled beast with wings. He's stabbing a large, thin blade into a dragon. I know I'm not saying the words as they're supposed to be written with the pauses and whatnot sometimes, but just bear with me. From head to tail, it's 50 feet long. My first instinct is to run, although as I turn to retreat, I realize it's already dead. Rogar laughs at me. He gestures that I come to him, and I hesitate for a second before obeying. He doesn't take control of his laughter until I'm standing right next to him. He won't hurt you. I've never seen a dragon before. Here, take my dagger. I want you to cut out some scales for me. It's not easy for a boy your size, but you can do it. He proceeds to point out the skin of the dragon in detail. He shows me the soft skin between each scale. The different shapes of the scales vary on where they are on the dragon's body. Some are smooth and curvy, while others are rough and jagged. No matter the size, they are all as hard and as solid as steel. He tells me that I have to thrust the blade deep into its thin, tender lining over and over again to inch my way around the scale, he explains. that if I try to drag the blade down the tender skin, he explains that I can try to drag the blade down the tender skin, but that it would take more muscle than I have in order to be successful. At one point, he encouraged me to try by saying I could use the workout, although he soon reverts back to saying that if I want to help him get more scales off the beast each day, I'll have to use the jab technique. It's aggravating to jab in a downward motion at full strength and try to hit that narrow quarter-inch line of soft flesh between the two hard scales. Several times my aim is off and I hit the scales instead. Each time I do, it just makes me more frustrated. It's getting dark out now and both of my arms are in pain. I'm fuming because I've only gotten 4 scales the size of teacup saucers out. Furthermore, I don't understand how this boring repetitive motion is going to help me be a better warrior. Sure, I'll get the experience of stabbing into tough flesh with the base of a blade at my pinky finger. So what? It's only one movement. I spent the whole day on my knees, and all I got was 2 cramping arms. At least when I was hauling wood, I was working my whole body. When Rogar orders me to stop and go eat with my family, I'm happy to be done. I don't want him to see that I'm angry, possibly angry with him. This isn't training. This is boring labor. When I sit down to dinner, Akram asks me about my black eye. I lie to her in the same way I did to Suri earlier. I think she, along with my sisters, can sense I'm upset. On occasion, I wince in pain and bend my arm to try to move a slice of steak into my mouth. Akram winces with me, hating to watch her adopt her adopted son like this. When she takes my plate and tries to feed me, it makes me so enraged that I get up and walk home. She doesn't deserve this attitude from me, and I know it. I simply can't stand the idea of being so weak that I need Mom to feed me. I never had one in my first life, so why would I need one now? I sit in my bed, debating whether to eat the leaves tonight. I'm almost out of my first small bag of the leaves, and I'm thinking of telling the Lybuses that the leaves may be a waste on me. Tell them they should give the plants to someone more fitting of it. I cannot believe how bad today was. Should I fight back? Should I hit the younger boys back when they hit me? I know it's justified, but my gut says it's wrong. Am I only angry with Paulo and Jun, or am I angry with Rogar and myself separately? Frustrated, I close my eyes, take a deep breath, and decide to finish off the bag of leaves. There's no point in wasting it. I finish the sample and lay down to sleep. And that's the end of chapter 6. And even though it's a spoiler, I'm going to go ahead and just say you are about to meet Drobe Lybus in the next one. Anyway, I'm at 33 minutes. Thank you for listening. I do think that one went a lot better than the last chapter did. I hiccuped a little bit, but I'm overall happy with it. Okay, guys. Talk to you in the next video. Stay motivated.